Hello, my name is Cash Pullen. I'm a sport management major here at the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, and today I'll be talking to you about the UFL. So, football is without a doubt the most popular sport here in the United States. Roughly 37 to 45% of Americans submit football as their favorite sport on surveys and questionnaires every year. Just the Super Bowl alone brings in over 110 million viewers every time it shows. 110 million people just to watch one football game. But I want to be honest. I don't believe the future of football is being shaped by the NFL. I believe it's currently being shaped by a league that's younger, hungrier, and more willing to innovate and experiment with change. That league is the UFL. The United Football League represents something the NFL hasn't offered in decades, which is a chance to rethink football from the ground up and not the top down. Right now, in the world of sports, in all major sports, I believe there is a barrier or a wall. On one side, you have the fans and the players, and on the other side, you have the general managers, billionaire owners, and the league office who run the leagues. Fans get to watch, they get to cheer, they get to buy tickets, but they actually don't have that influence that they always thought they did. We only really have the influence of how many tickets those teams sell and how much noise we make when big plays happen. Players feel disconnected too, though. NFL players will often talk about how disconnected they feel from the communities around them and how they are only seen as performers, not just as regular people. But the UFL actually challenges that idea. It says, what if the league actually listened to its fans and players before we only listen to the owners of the league? So, the UFL did not come out of nowhere. Like, it didn't just say, hey, we're here. In 2024, two spring football leagues that were struggling to produce actually merged together. One of them was the Extreme Football League, and the other was the United States Football League. The XFL, or the Extreme Football League, brought innovation, transparency, and fan-first ideas to the game of football. The USFL brought great stability, great TV partnership, and better organized franchises. Together, they formed a league with 8 teams, national TV coverage just like the NFL, and a great developmental pipeline for players trying to make it big in the game of football. The UFL isn't trying to compare themselves to the NFL. They're trying to complete football with things the NFL can't offer. The UFL has actually already used innovation and experimentation with some of the rules in which they play. One of them being three-point conversion. So in the NFL and college, you'll see that after a team scores a touchdown, they have the option to kick an extra point or go for a 2-point conversion. But the UFL has actually integrated a 3-point conversion, where instead of the 2-yard line, you actually line up from the 10-yard line and try to advance into the end zone for 3 extra points and not 2 or 1. Another one is the new kickoff alignment. You actually see the NFL use this new kickoff alignment today. It was created to make it safer for players on special teams in the kickoff team. Because the regular kickoff alignment was you were around 30 yards apart, one side from the other, and you basically ran as fast as you can to hit somebody as hard as you can. So it was created to prevent major injuries. But it was also created because it gives a greater probability of a kickoff return touchdown, which is always more exciting for the fans. And lastly, they've actually created live access to fans on replay officials. So instead of wondering what the replay officials are actually talking about, they actually can listen in and know what they're trying to decide and what they're talking about. and actually if they're right or not, if they actually know what they're talking about. A great real world example of a league that was willing to listen to its fans and players is the MLB. Baseball, for decades, maybe a century, was stuck with slow pace and declining viewership. That is what the world of baseball was known for, was slow pace. But it was until fans and players pushed for things like the pitch clocks, the ABS system challenge, and mic'd up players that actually brought back life to the game of baseball. The MLB had its highest attendance in 30 years in 2023, all because of the way fans and players pushed to make the game faster and more enjoyable to watch. Another great example in baseball is a team called the Savannah Bananas. They're a minor league team that has gone absolutely viral across the internet because of their non-traditional way of playing baseball. They interact with the fans, they do trick plays basically that you would never see in an MLB game, and they do viral trends throughout the game. So, I want you to do this. Imagine a league where fans help shape their team traditions. Players get to collaborate with rule changes, and communities actually help shape the identity of their teams. The UFL already has the structure to make this happen. It's smaller, more flexible, and more connected to its fans, the NFL, than the NFL could ever possibly be, in my opinion. So here are 5 real examples or ideas that I think the UFL could integrate into the game to make it more exciting to watch. Number 1, community designed alternate uniforms. So this is basically off the idea of the MLB had with their City Connect uniforms. But instead of just the organization making the jerseys, I want fans to submit their best and most exciting ideas to a uniform to represent the community around them, and the players and the coaches get to vote on which uniform they like best, and that jersey gets to be worn once a year. Secondly, open mic'd coaching. You might see this in videos with the NFL where they have coaches mic'd up in their mic'd up videos, but instead of just like after the play or after the team comes to the sideline, I want a play-by-play, and even more than a play-by-play. I want a strategy breakdown, also halftime adjustments, and post-game explanations for why the game went the way it went. Thirdly, I want fan-driven rule testing. So I know some fans might come up with the craziest rules possible, but that's not how the way I would want them to do it. I would want the league to say, oh, this is actually a great idea that we can actually experiment with to see if it makes the game better, and they would actually experiment it during a game. Fourth, I want the UFL to start doing player storytelling segments. So, like the NFL, the players would actually get to tell their story on how their come up was to the game of football into their professional career, and how the community they grew up in shaped them. My favorite example is my favorite quarterback, Dak Prescott. So I am still a huge fan of Dak Prescott. I thought I knew just about everything there was to know about him. He went to Mississippi State, was a Heisman contender one year, brought Mississippi State to the #1 team, which they had never been, and then has been playing for the Dallas Cowboys for a decade. But it wasn't until a player storytelling segment of Dak Prescott that I actually knew his mother passed away when he was in college. And just a few years later into his professional career, his brother committed suicide. But through this player storytelling segment, it was great to hear about how Dak went through the adversity and he pushed through to be the man he is today and the professional that he is today. Last idea I want is the local fan council. I want every franchise once a month to take a rotation of 15 to 20 fans, sit them down and interview them on game day experience and how they can make that experience even better every game day. The UFL is the best possible league for change. It's not held down by decades of tradition. It's not held down by billionaire owners blocking innovation and experimentation. And it doesn't have that culture of, we've always done it this way. So, the future of football, I believe, should not ever only belong to the NFL. It should belong to the fans, the players, and the coaches who built this great game into what it is today. But that's only going to happen if fans who love the game like I do and the players who want the league to change actually step forward to shape the future. You're not only watching the future of football, you're capable of creating it now. Thank you.